Welcome, everyone. We are live tonight. I trust you had a good day, all of you. I'm just dropping into the chat here on YouTube just to make sure that people can hear me so that they drop a thumbs up in the chat there. So, again, I trust you all had a beautiful day. And you know what time it is. It's bedtime, right? So I will do my best to soothe us, okay? So let us flip over shea butter that deal. You're both here. Let me flip over to chapter 2 of Out of This World. Chapter 2, Assumptions Become Facts. How, you say? Men believe in the reality of the external world because they do not know how to focus and condense their powers to penetrate its thin crust. This book has only one purpose: the removing of the veil of the senses, the traveling into another world. To remove the veil of the senses, we do not employ great effort. To remove the veil of the senses, we do not employ great effort. The objective world vanishes by turning our attention away from it. How, you say? We have only to concentrate on the state desired in order to mentally see it. But to give it reality so that it will become an objective fact, we must focus attention upon the invisible state until it has the feeling of reality. Then, through concentrated attention, our desire appears to possess the distinctness and feelings of reality. We have given it the right to become a visible, concrete fact. If it is difficult to control the direction of your attention while in a state akin to sleep, you may find gazing fixedly upon or into an object very helpful. Do not look at its surface, but into and beyond any plain object, such as a wall, a carpet, or any other object which possesses depth. Arrange it to return as little reflection as possible. Imagine then that in this depth, you are seeing and hearing what you want to see and hear until your attention is exclusively occupied by the imagined state. At the end of your meditation, when you awake from your controlled waking dream, you feel as though you had returned from a great distance. The visible world which you had shut out returns to consciousness, and by its very presence, informs you that you have been self deceived into believing that the object of your contemplation was real. But if you know that consciousness is the one and only reality, you will remain faithful to your vision, and by this sustained mental attitude, confirm your gift of reality and prove that you have the power to give reality to your desires that they may become visible, concrete facts. Define your ideal and concentrate your attention upon the idea of identifying yourself with your ideal. Assume the feeling of being it, the feeling that would be yours were you already the embodiment of your ideal. Then live and act upon this conviction. This assumption, though denied by the senses, if persisted in, will become fact. You will know when you have succeeded in fixing the desired state in consciousness by simply looking mentally at the people you know. In dialogues with yourself, you are less inhibited and more sincere than in actual conversations with others. Therefore, the opportunity for self analysis arises when you are surprised by your mental conversations with others. If you see them as you formerly saw them, you have not changed your concept of self. For all changes of concepts of self result in a changed relationship to your world. In your meditation, allow others to see you as they would see you, were this new concept of self a concrete fact. You always seem to others an embodiment of the ideal you inspire. Therefore, in meditation, when you contemplate others, you must be seen by them mentally, as you would be seen by them physically, were your concept of self an objective fact. That is, in meditation, you imagine that they see you expressing that which you desire to be. If you assume that you are what you want to be, your desire is fulfilled. Wait, what? If you assume that you are what you want to be, your desire is fulfilled. And in fulfillment, all longing is neutralized. You cannot continue desiring what you have already realized. Your desire is not something you labor to fulfill, it is recognizing something you already possess. It is assuming the feeling of being that which you desire to be. Believing and being are one. The conceiver and his conception are one. Therefore, that which you conceive yourself to be can never be so far off as even as to be near. For nearness implies separation. If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. Mark 9, verse 23. Being is the substance of things hoped, the evidence of things not yet seen. Hebrews 11, verse 1. If you assume that you are what you want to be, then you will see others as they are related to your assumption. If, however, it is the good of others that you desire, well, then in meditation, you must represent them to yourself as already being that which you desire them to be. It is through desire that you rise above your present sphere, and the road from longing to fulfillment is shortened as you experience in imagination what you would experience in the flesh, were you already the embodiment of the ideal you desire to be. Listen to it again. It is through desire that you rise above your present sphere, and the road from longing to fulfillment is shortened, and you experience in imagination what you would experience in the flesh, were you already the embodiment of the ideal you desire to be. I have stated that man has at every moment of time the choice before him which of several futures he will encounter. But the question arises, how is that possible when the experiences of man awake in the three-dimensional world are predetermined? As his observation of an event before it occurs implies. This ability to change the future will be seen if we liken the experiences of life on earth to this printed page. Man experiences events on earth. Pardon me. Man experiences events on earth singly and successively in the same way that you are now experiencing the words of this page. Imagine that every word on this page represents a single sensory impression. To get the context, to understand my meaning, you focus your vision of the first word in the upper left-hand corner and then move your focus across the page from left to right, letting it fall on the words singly and successively. By the time your eyes reach the last word of this page, you have extracted my meaning. Suppose, however, on looking at the page, with all the printed words thereon equally present, you decided to rearrange them. You could, by rearranging them, tell an entirely different story. In fact, you could tell many different stories. A dream is nothing more than uncontrolled four-dimensional thinking, or the rearrangement of both past and future sensory impressions. Man seldomly dreams of events in the order in which he experiences them when awake. He usually dreams of two or more events which are separated in time, fused into a single sensory impression. Pardon me. Or in his dream, he so completely rearranges his single waking sensory impressions that he does not recognize them when he encounters them in his waking state. For example, I dreamed that I delivered a package to the restaurant in my apartment building. The hostess said to me, "You can't leave that there." Whereupon the elevator operator gave me a few letters, and as I thanked him for them, he in turn thanked me. At this point, the night elevator operator appeared and waved a greeting to me. The following day, as I left my apartment, I picked up a few letters which had been placed at my door. On my way down, I gave the day elevator operator a tip and thanked him for taking care of my mail, whereupon he thanked me for the tip. On my return home that day, I overheard a doorman saying to a delivery man, "Hey, you can't leave that there." As I was about to take the elevator up to my apartment, I was attracted by a familiar face in the restaurant. And as I looked in, the hostess greeted me with a smile. Late that night, I escorted my dinner guests to the elevator. And as I said goodbye to them, the night operator waved goodnight to me. By simply rearranging a few of the single sensory impressions I was destined to encounter, and by fusing two or more of them into single sensory impressions, I constructed a dream which differed quite a bit from my waking experience. When we have learned to control the movements of our attention in the four-dimensional world, we shall be able to consciously create circumstances in the three-dimensional world. Let me slide in there. When we have learned to control the movements of our attention in the four-dimensional world, we shall be able to consciously create circumstances in the three-dimensional world. What does that mean? When you've learned to control the movements of attention, stay focused then. Now, here's the thing, you and I naturally and automatically focus. Yes, we do. I don't know if you've ever been like me, but I will be brushing my hair or combing my hair in the mirror. And then I will start to remember a conversation that I had with someone. And then I become so focused and engrossed on that conversation that I'm having internally that what happens? I am in my four-dimensional world and I am creating a circumstance just by simply focusing on that. And you know what keeps you focused? When you're having an internal conversation, it is how you feel that keeps you focused. Love them or hate them is irrelevant. If you hate them, man, you're going to be telling them off at every turn. You're going to be cussing them out. And that is exactly what you'll be doing in your four-dimensional world. If you love them, well, the same thing will happen. You'll be thinking about them and wondering if they're missing you and are they thinking about you? And you're engrossed in it. We do that automatically. We do that naturally. And you know how you know you've done it, or you know how you know that you're doing it? The way you make me feel, the way it makes you feel. Sometimes we get so engrossed in the internal arguments that we're having We're so lost in it. From that place that you are lost in, you are creating your circumstances of this here and now. Don't take my word for it. Try it out for yourself. It says, we learn this control through the waking dream, where our attention can be maintained without effort. For attention minus effort is indispensable to changing the future. Without effort, when that person that you want to tell off is in your mind's eye running around rent free, is there any effort to cussing them out? Not a lick of effort. None. So, what does it tell you? It means that thing that you are engrossed in, you listen, love it or hate it, the moment you commit to it, the moment you commit to it, you'll realize it takes you no effort to cuss them out or say, "Oh, I love you." It takes no effort at all to do it. And you're already doing it naturally and automatically. But I digress. We can, in a controlled waking dream, consciously construct an event which we desire to experience in the three-dimensional world. Again, all those people who, they're accepting their Grammy, they're accepting their Oscar, they're accepting their Emmy. Do you know that most of them practice in the mirror to give their acceptance speech? Listen to what it says. We can, in a controlled waking dream, consciously construct an event which we desire to experience in the three-dimensional world. So, what would you like to experience in the three-dimensional world? Begin to rehearse it. When you rehearse it in the four-dimensional world, I keep telling you, it's that feeling. And the best feeling I can tell you is because there's always somebody we don't like. And that somebody, we're always cussing them out. Man, if I see them, I'll tell them this, blah, 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 blah. And we rehearse how we're going to cuss them out. We rehearse our witty comebacks. If you can rehearse a witty comeback, what else can you rehearse but beneficial to you? Can you construct an event like, oh my God, you'll never guess what happened? And you begin to tell them all of the things that happened that you're so excited about. What's the difference between that and cussing out the person? There is no difference other than how much you are committed to it. So, your level of commitment to that imaginary conversation that seems like you're pretending and it seems imaginary, it is not imaginary. You are constructing an event which you want to experience. Well, what do you mean, Angela? I don't like having arguments in my head. Yeah, but the moment your attention is upon the argument, that is your desire. If it was not your desire, it would not have your attention. So you see, we do it naturally. But let us continue. The sensory impressions we use to construct our waking dream are present realities displaced in time or the four-dimensional world. All that we do in constructing the waking dream is to select from the vast array of sensory impressions those which, when they are properly arranged, imply that we have realized our desire. With the dream clearly defined, we relax in a chair and induce a state of consciousness akin to sleep, a state which, although bordering on sleep, leaves us in conscious control of the movements of our attention. When we have achieved that, state, we experience in imagination what we would experience in reality were this waking dream an objective fact. In applying this technique to change the future, it is important always to remember that the only thing which occupies the mind during the waking dream is the waking dream, the predetermined action which implies the fulfillment of your desire. How the waking dream becomes physical fact is not our concern. Our acceptance of the waking dream as physical reality wills the means for its fulfillment. So once you accept your waking dream as a physical reality, as Esther Hicks would say, all of creation conspires to assist you. But we can't see the inner workings of that. We don't know because it is hidden in the womb. So we cannot see how everything is coming together and knitting itself together to bring about, voila, your desire. But what we do know is that it does come together. So accept that. That's your job. I digress. Now, if you missed anything, snuggle in for this one. Let me again lay the foundation of changing the future, which is nothing more than a controlled waking dream. 1. Define your objective. Well, how? By knowing definitely what you want. What are you going to do right now in this moment? You are going to define your objective. Know definitely what you want. I want, name it. Do not judge what you want. Do not justify what you want. But I don't have any money. I don't know how it's possible. I didn't ask you all that. I asked you one simple question. What do you want, my darling? What do you want? Mm? So define your objective. Know definitely what you want. Take a moment while I sip some water to define your objective. I want, or I am going to experience in imagination this thing, whatever. Do you have your objective clearly defined? Do you know what you want? Good. Now that you know what you want, if you had it, oh, just begin to entertain the idea that you had it, that you were already it. Entertain that idea for a few minutes. And now it's going to make you feel one of two ways. You will either feel, ooh, tell me more, this is a beautiful experience. Or you will feel, "Ugh, that's totally not possible. She's totally nuts. That's never going to work out. Like, I'm just supposed to imagine and that's going to happen." You're going to get one of those two feelings. Which feeling do you have? Whichever feeling you have is the experience you will have. As within, so without. So clearly define your objective. What do you want? Accept it. When you accept it, begin now to experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. What would you do? Would you go get your hair done? Would you get your nails done? And you know when you go to the esthetician, she's buffing your nails. She's buffing your nails, right? And you're having this conversation, and she's like, "Well, you look real good today. What's different about you? Because you didn't look this good last week." Right? And you sit there and you go, "Oh, girl, let me tell you." Would you naturally do that? Would you naturally go and get your hair done, your nails done, pedicure, and and you're so excited you just have to spill all the beans and tell her what you experienced? Well, fine. You see how that makes you feel that you would tell that story? Ah, that's the feeling you want because it's the feeling that tells you you're doing it and doing it well. Eh? That's the feeling. What would you do? Would you drive somewhere? Naturally, would you call somebody? Would they call you and you'd be like, "Girl, I was just about to call you." I was thinking about you. You'll never believe what happened. What would you do naturally? So when Neville Goddard says to you, allow this thing to take on the tones of reality, that is what he's talking about. You have to do what is real to you based upon your personality. Let me tell you something. I would drive down the street with my music blaring in my headphones and I'd be singing and I would walk into work with a pep in my step. I'm telling you because that's how I am. So all I do is get that feeling. I get that feeling. When I get that well, anyway, I digress. So what would you naturally do? So whatever you would naturally do it here in your imagination. Rehearse it there in your imagination. Oh my God. I would totally like to thank. Who are you going to thank? Oh, did I forget anybody? Oh, I forgot my manager. I forgot my agent. Oh my God. What would you do naturally? Right? It seems like it is over the top, but what I'm trying to convey to you is you get a feeling naturally. You don't have to force it, it is without effort, effortlessly, right? So, there, you know what you want and you got that feeling, right? Next time you hear that, you'll know when I get that feeling, you'll know that you will bring up the feeling of your desire being fulfilled, right? So, step three, you do it before bed. That's the easiest time. One of the best times, actually. If you're like me, I fall asleep real easy. So, don't just go get into bed. Take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and snuggle in there and get all comfortable and get the feeling. Get the feeling and begin to experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. Oh, yes. And then allow yourself to drift off into sleep in that state of mind. Why? Because that's there's nothing contradicting you when you do that. If you do it when you're wide awake, you can hear in the back of your mind, please get what you want, my eye. That stuff don't work. That's all hocus pocus. When you're falling asleep, that voice has been silenced. And all that you are left with is the presence of your feeling of the wish fulfilled. Oh dear. Hmm. So let's read what he says here for step three. Let's read step one. Define your objective. Know definitely what you want. Remember it because we're going to do it when we go into the silence, right? Construct an event which you believe you will encounter following the fulfillment of your desire. Something which will have the action of self predominant. An event which implies the fulfillment of your desire. Step three, immobilize the physical body and induce a state of consciousness akin to sleep. Then mentally feel yourself right into the proposed action, imagining all the while that you are actually performing the action here and now so that you experience in imagination what you would experience in the flesh were you now to realize your goal. You notice he didn't say, watch yourself. He's not mystical, is he? Sorry, but he is, right? He's not saying, watch your step. He's not saying that to you. He's telling you, act it out. He's telling you, play out the role. He's telling you that you are the actor. You're not watching an actor because the feelings will not be the same. If you're watching somebody, that feeling isn't the same because now you're going to be like, oh, I want that for myself. But if you do it, you are enveloped by the feeling. You understand? Those are two separate feelings. To watch somebody do it and then for you to do it, two different feelings. See if you can figure it out. And he says, experience has convinced me that this is the perfect way to achieve my goal. However, My own many failures would convict me were I to imply that I have completely mastered the movements of my attention. So he's telling you, you will have days when you are on, and you will have days when you are off. But whether you are on or you are off, you must know what you are rooted and anchored in. I can, however, with the ancient teachers say, this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth unto those things which are before, I press toward the mark for the prize. Oh, for the prize. Philippians 3, verse 13 and 14. And you know that's where we'll end on chapter 2. So you know you'll have to come back tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for chapter 3, the power of imagination. So that gives you time to practice. You do not just hold that feeling in your bosom for 2 minutes and then forget about it. No, you have the knowledge right here. Look at how many times we hold on to a complaint and we mull over that complaint and we chew over that complaint all day long. Well, if you can chew and mull over a complaint like a cow chewing its cud all day long, you can hold the feeling through practice of the wish fulfilled. And the level of intensity by which you hold your state of the wish fulfilled, rhythm compensates. So that deep conviction will bring it to you faster because you're calling it to yourself. You are calling those things that are not as though they were, and you are watching them become. That is what you're doing. So this is why I will say to you, my own failures would convict me were I to imply that I completely mastered it. I'm not a master, but I practice every day. And what happens to you when you practice every day? Oh, what was that? I become a master? So that is the encouragement. You do not fail. You just learn how to hone your skills better. Hello? I have way too many American friends. Because I just remembered Cody. And he said, hello. I don't even know where Cody is right now, but he just crossed my mind. But anyway, let us take 5 minutes. Let us take 5 minutes to know what we want, experience the sensation of having it, keeping the body still for 5 whole minutes. My God, whatever was you doing that 5 minutes? Hold it still for 5 minutes. That feeling in your bosom of, oh yeah, thank you. I accomplished my goal. And however many times you can set your timer on your phone to remember so that you can do it. Set your timer for every 2 hours and catch that feeling for 5 minutes. Because there will be more time of you being in the state of the wish fulfilled than not. And then when you fall asleep for 8 hours in that state. Hello, you can change your world. You just, mm. I do not want you to believe anything I'm telling you because belief is not going to do it for you. You have to do it so that you can see the evidence of what you've done. So you can say, oh, go your way. Your faith has made you whole. Because you'll see the evidence of it and you will know that it was your faith in yourself that you said, let me follow through. Let us go into the silence for 5 minutes. Know what you want, experience in imagination what you would experience in reality, and stay still for 5 minutes. Can you do it? And there concludes our 5 minutes. Remember the process. Know what you want to experience. Know what you want to experience. Then experience in imagination what you would experience in reality. And then you lay still and you bring that feeling up of experiencing in imagination what you would experience in reality. And then you allow yourself to simply drift off into sweet sleep. No effort required. So take your time as you practice. Set a timer if you wish. Set it for every hour, every 2 hours, whatever. But that timer is to remind you to get into the state of the wish fulfilled so that you can be in the state of the wish fulfilled more than you are not. But do you know what that's going to help you to do? It helps you to practice your focus. It helps you to practice your attention. And lo and behold, somebody ends up being disciplined because you are allowing yourself to do the same thing in the same way every time. So a habit disciplines cause and effect. So you don't have to force your discipline. Discipline emerges from what you do. Indeed. And with that, my beautiful friends, what time is it? I, I'll get the nighttime chime. We'll just play for a moment. The nighttime chime. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest well, my beautiful friends. Rest well and practice. Let us not just be hearers. but let us be doers of the word deliberately. I think that's going to be my new phrase because I always say allegedly. So now I will say deliberately. Deliberately, I'm going to do that thing. You see? Anywho, you know I love you. Toodaloo.